Welcome to the Intersection Magazine podcast. My guest today is Haron Wachira. Haron Wachira is founder or CEO Akili Group. Let me give you a bit of historical context. Haron Wachira was my first employee in an introduction into ICT back almost now 25 years ago. And the reason why I wanted to have him on the podcast is as we cover Kenya. This week I'm in Kenya trying to cover the technology ecosystem. I think it's very important for us to understand who the people are that have been in the industry for a while, connect with them historically so that they can give us a sense of a context in terms of what exists, what we can do better, what we can learn from them. So as I said before, he was my first boss, although indirectly. I worked at a different office. But they were selling computers as well as providing training and technical services and support. One of the most important things I noticed back then was there was a very strong Christian foundation for his company. And the motto was providing things honest in the sight of men. And I observed that throughout this company's existence. Second thing that they did very well was they connected their training program with that of the local university and started providing or giving us access to innovative short courses that were related to ICT. The third thing that I noticed while I worked there is they came up with products. They packaged their products in terms of their computers and the pricing of the computers. They had very innovative ways of packaging their products and selling their devices. At a certain point, they were leading the way in terms of computer sales. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through what Mr. Wachira is currently doing. So he'll give us a bit of context because Demo Systems was quite a while back, a few years ago. But right now he's working in quite a number of areas that he will explain to us and illustrate. So thank you for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy the podcast.
Yes.
So Haron Wachira, please tell us a little bit more about yourself. Who is Haron Wachira?
I think, first of all, Haron Wachira is a Christian.
Yes.
He's a believer in Christ. I got to know the Lord when I was 19 years old.
Yes.
And I remember making a deal with the Lord at that particular moment that would you please help me not to be the hypocrite that I see all around. That hypocrisy that I had seen all around had kept me away from the faith because I feared that I would be just like those guys. But when I became a Christian, I think the Lord really assured me that it is Him and not I that drives the journey of a Christian.
Yes.
And I have enjoyed a walk with the Lord. I'm now in my 60s.
Yes.
And I'm married. My kids are grown.
Yes.
And in fact, they are all together. My girls, two born girls and one adopted girl, and all of their husbands are all working with us in our business today. And their children also are working with the Lord. So we're seeing that second generation, actually third generation of kids working with the Lord, and we are thankful about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. You're talking about the importance of faith. And a few pieces that I've done last few weeks, for example, with the Silicon Valley Bank and the collapse of FTX and Alameda Group in California, I found a commentary. A friend of mine, actually a young man that was raised in Kenya, top of his class at Alliance, currently works in Latin America, was commenting about some of the problems we've been having in Silicon Valley and with the banking crisis. And he said, this is really a crisis of trust.
Yes, it's a moral thing.
It's a moral thing. And so can you talk a little bit about that in terms of how the importance of these ideas in business, morality, faith,
first of all,
integrity?
Yes.
Yes.
When your primary preoccupation is to please God, then you adopt a code of ethics that you live with.
Okay.
And the Bible is clear about them. I was fortunate when I was 20 to meet a man. He's still alive. He's called Dr. Michael Schluter. At that time, he was a young PhD graduate, and he was teaching us macroeconomics from the book of Deuteronomy.
Okay.
It was really amazing. But the principles of justice, being just, the principle of caring for the needy, caring for the poor, the principle of a stable currency, the shekel of the sanctuary, and all of that stuff. If you look at everything that needs to uphold a business, is actually outlined in the scriptures.
Okay.
And I've taught that in all my life. I have been a preacher from when I was 19. But I have not been a preacher paid by a church. I have been a preacher that gets facilitated by business, and the business itself becomes the first platform that you have for witness, because you have got workers who are looking up to you, you have colleagues whom you work with. I remember my first assignment outside of my workstation when I was an employee for a very short stint with the government. We went out and all my colleagues cheated on their claims, how much money they had spent. And I came back with an honest claim. They respected me, but they hated me because they were examined against the fact that I appeared to have claimed very little, and yet we were staying in the same hotel. So that becomes a witness in itself. In your dealings with your boss, I still remember also that same time being entrusted with a store, because everybody who looked after that store, they were stealing from it. But my colleagues had a different motive than my boss, because my boss wanted me to look after the store so that things don't get stolen. My colleagues stole from the store when it was assigned to me in an attempt to implicate me so that I could get into jail. But the Lord rescued me because I was tipped to be careful how I did the handover. We did a proper inventory, and in fact one of those guys got caught. So you can see in the workplace, the Christian stands out. The way Daniel stood out, the way Nehemiah stood out, and they stand out because of their faith. When Christians look at their faith as the basis for serving the Lord, whether they are doing business or whether they are being employed, that's what really rules. Today, just right now, the current job, I am just about, I'm in my 60s, and I have officially retired this month from a consultancy undertaking that I've had for the last 7 years. I was shocked that when I retired and left, that same organization has reached out to me and offered me a partnership because of the work that we have done together over the last many years. So your integrity is a testimony, and I really believe in that. We practiced it at Diamond Systems. We tried to. It doesn't mean that you are perfect. I mean, you will fire people, you will make mistakes, but you will also have an impact. Even when you make mistakes, people will see that the mistake was an honest mistake. But ministry is integrated in everything that you do.
Okay. Give us a bit of, in terms of a timeline, because when we last met when you were still in charge of Diamond Systems, what's been going on ever since? Can you give us a timeline?
Okay. I, as you may have known, at that time I was in Diamond Systems with a business partner, and we I think we're the first people to assemble computers in Kenya. We brought down the prices of computers in the country. We packaged modems into computers to give people access to the internet in 1995. I got into trouble with the government because they did not consider the modems licensed. And getting a license for a modem to operate required you to pay bribes, which we refused to pay. So in every way that Diamond Systems literally disrupted the computer business.
Yes.
Then we went into a partnership with Jomo Kenyatta University,
Yes.
in which we introduced training. I believe one of your brothers went through that
Yes, he
course,
did.
a diploma course in IT,
Yes.
and put out together more than 10,000 kids into the market.
Okay.
I meet them everywhere, working in very, very many different spaces.
Yes.
And around 1998, I got called back by my former employer.
Okay.
I had been employed before Diamond Systems by Price Waterhouse.
Yes.
When they now merged with Coopers and became PwC in 1998, they called me back and asked me whether I could lead the process of integrating their systems.
Okay.
And I did, can you imagine, 12 years
Wow.
as an associate consultant dealing with their own internal systems,
Okay.
but as a consultant,
Okay.
also developing my own other products.
Yes.
And around them, we developed a platform, an integrated platform for implementing distributed applications,
Yes.
which literally up to today is still the business that I do. And that platform was implemented in many large organizations.
Yes.
As a backend operating system for facilitating transactions,
Okay.
connecting other applications, making sure that everything worked seamlessly together. And eventually,
Yes.
that product ended up in small scale agriculture.
Okay.
Because during that time I made a conscious decision to go back rural, mostly to try and address the problem of low productivity that is associated with farming.
Yes.
in almost all of Africa. But I discovered that the problem is processes.
Okay.
People do not have a process for how to farm maize or how to farm coffee.
Okay.
And farming is the most difficult job anybody can do, but farmers have got no tools whatsoever, both IT and also physical tools. All of Africa, if you travel, you will find that the majority of farmers are still trying to work with a hoe, a djembe, with a machete.
Yes.
1904 tools to try and produce agriculture in an environment where the competition from everywhere else is using very, very good machinery.
Yes.
So this moved me, and I worked with a church, initially one of our rural churches,
Okay.
to try and define processes for producing different things. Surprisingly, we became very successful. 150 families, all of them came out of poverty. I was honored by Ashoka.
Yes.
I became an Ashoka Fellow as a result of my disruptive work in the rural area. And that led me to the whole business of trying to find how do you finance that activity in large scale.
Okay.
And using software, my software got noticed within a carbon credit implementing organization, because we were able to track all the compliances that are required. Initially it was a consultancy job, but it became something that they depended on so much that literally that platform became my life after that, in terms of generating income.
Yes.
And so I began to do carbon credit work for other people, and eventually formed our own organization, Akili Group.
Yes.
There are actually several companies that work together with farmers, but they are funded by carbon credit.
Okay.
So as of now, we have a software platform that tracks all the compliances required in the implementation of carbon credit programs in various methodologies. And as a result, we are able to achieve a very high compliance level. I think at the moment the work that we are doing all around, whether it's in the distribution of energy efficient cook stoves, or afforestation, or in working with biochar, so in agriculture, our carbon credit compliance is in the region of 92%, which is very good. But in the process, we get now partners who invest in those carbon credit programs, and part of our income goes back to now working with the farmers to improve their own other agricultural activity. So we have processes that we track for growing coffee,
Okay.
processes that we track for growing maize, utilization of different inputs at the right time. But just working with software and working with precision,
Yes.
we are able to work with a lot of farmers. I think at the moment we are working with about 300,000 farmers.
Oh, wow.
So it was a complete shift from just purely doing IT
Yes.
for business to using IT in agriculture and in the carbon market.
Yes.
But our primary responsibility is the same, serving God's people
Yes.
and being a witness amongst them.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you rate the carbon credit movement, I suppose, in Kenya and maybe Africa?
I'm not quite sure whether the subject of rating
Yes.
is what I would address.
Yes.
Because in every sector, in the church,
Yes.
there are crooks. In carbon credits, there are crooks. In the business world, there are crooks. So my own statement is that in every ecosystem
Yes.
a Christian finds himself in, you have to be the light in that dark world. You
Okay.
have to be the salt in that dark world. And I would say there are other people who are just extracting carbon credit, for example, from the soil by just conserving the soil
Okay.
and keeping that money. They themselves, fly around with planes, but the people that are facilitating that sequestration are living in poverty.
Okay.
In our own carbon credit model,
Yes.
we pre-negotiate with an investor
Okay.
to generate carbon credit from an agreed activity,
Okay.
like an energy efficient cook stove that a woman uses, which generates maybe 2.5 carbon credits per year.
Okay.
That's quite a lot of money in the sense of several, it could be in the region of something like maybe 20 plus euro
Okay.
that could be generated on an annual basis from the use of that cook stove.
Okay. Okay.
Now the woman gets a good environment because she breathes better air because of the less smoke. But the carbon credit, when it's consolidated, aggregated amongst all the users of that stove, leaves also money that is available for improving the overall environment.
Yes.
So our model is generate carbon credits, give a primary benefit to the user, whether it's a tree, an avocado tree, where they get the fruit,
Okay.
an energy efficient stove where they are able to get a good cooking system.
Yes.
But the overall carbon credits generated are shared between the investors, the communities, and ourselves.
Okay.
And using the money that goes to the community, we are able to implement overall improvements in that entire environment. Like, for example, in one of our places called Hombe, at the foot of Mount Kenya,
Yes.
we have a clinic, just giving one example, that tests prostate cancer
Okay.
and cervical cancer with the intention of being able to ensure that early detection leads to healing, which is assured. If you detect both at the early stages,
Yes.
the chances of survival are 100%. If you wait until people are very sick, the chances of death are 100%. So using carbon credit money, we are able to equip a local clinic and provide those services to all the members without them having to pay, and also employ educators.
Yes,
Like
yes.
community benefit for the community would be to employ somebody to teach the men
Yes.
on the importance of getting yourself tested. But in addition, we also teach agronomy. We teach you a better way of producing coffee, for example. Using carbon credit money, we are able to employ an agronomist who will teach a farmer the basics of planting coffee. Many people doing coffee think that the problem is the price. Actually, the real problem is the production.
Okay.
Because the average production of a coffee plant is about 2 kilos.
Okay.
But with the proper agronomic practices that we teach, in 3 years you can increase that productivity to 20 kilos
Okay.
from the same plant. And that person now is getting 10 times more income from coffee, is not the same person you started with.
That's true.
So if you are practicing that level of justice in your system where you are doing the just things amongst your neighbors, even yourself you get the benefit. Because like when I increase the productivity of a farmer in coffee, Then they ask me, where do we sell that coffee?
Okay.
So we create a market, and we both make money out of it. I can make money out of exporting the coffee. The farmer gets 10 times more. The carbon credit investor gets a lot of money from the high level of compliance from my software, and it becomes a win-win situation for all of us. So any area that a Christian gets involved in, whether they are dirty people or not, whether the whole world is dark or not, that person becomes the light in that world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm curious. I think it was, I believe it's Adesina of the Development Bank. He's predicted that quite a lot of money is going to be made in Africa from agriculture.
Yes.
In the trillions. How do we establish ourselves? How do we set ourselves up for this new way of thinking?
I think the thing we have to really focus on is modernizing agriculture.
Okay.
I have a project I'm involved in where we are designing an aeroponic system linked with a hydroponic system, linked with a tissue culture system to produce a clean potato seed. Now, that potato seed that would come from such a system has the potential of generating 10 times as much as the potatoes that are not sequenced for disease, which are planted on soils that are sick, if you like, that are infested with certain diseases, and so the farmers get very low productivity. How did we get into that? We got into that because amongst the users of the participants of our carbon credit program in that area called Nyandarua, they are abandoning potato growing because they are harvesting 8 bags, 3 bags of potato from an acre, which acre should actually be producing between 30 and 100 bags. But when we look at the reason, we found that it is, again, lack of protocols, lack of processes, and most notably, working with a seed that has been selected from the good potatoes. That the good potatoes are sold to the guys who make potato chips. But the bad seed is the one that gets planted. So the farmers don't get good crop consistently. Now, we consulted, we found some experts, we discussed, and we found that the process of producing the potato seed is the most critical thing that we can do, and we are in the middle of all of that. Now, if we succeed with those people and we are able to produce good potato seeds, then those farmers will truly not only make a significant living, but you're talking about almost 50,000 farmers. Actually, it's 100,000 farmers in 2 counties, Nyandarua and Laikipia, who would probably grow enough potatoes to feed the whole of Kenya if they increase their productivity 10 times. And so agriculture needs to be modernized. If it's not modernized, of course it will be the new form of slavery that it is right now, where farmers work very hard and get very little. If I keep on dreaming in coffee, in seeing an automated system that, an artificial intelligence unit that is walking around the coffee farms picking coffee. It would be able to pick the exact berry that is ripe enough to produce the perfect cup of tea, or cup of coffee. Same thing with tea. But without modernization, I don't think that's going to be possible. And I'm disappointed that our government provides lip service to modernization of agriculture. But when it comes to storing water, facilitating irrigation, automating the processes of production, there's very little investment going on in that direction. And so I think that the opportunity there now is for social investors, impact investors, people who are willing to play in that space. And I can only say that I think just as Christians led in the establishment of hospitals in the 19th century, 19th and 20th century, and they led in the establishment of schools, I think Christians should be leading in the establishment of better agricultural programs in the 21st century in Africa.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Wachira. You've shed light on quite a number of subjects. Maybe finally, talk about your work in conservation.
Okay.
Yes.
We are growing trees in large scale.
Yes.
So, for example, afforestation is a key part of the way we generate carbon credits.
Okay.
So we are providing millions of trees to farmers
Yes.
in the avocado sector, in the macadamia sector, restoring the trees that used to be in those places, like trees like Podo and Camphor and the Prunus africana trees, and promoting their use and even creating income streams out of them so that the farmers can see the value of growing those trees. A plant like the Prunus africana tree, the bark actually cures most of the illnesses that men face, with their prostate, for example. And when people see a value like that one, then they will grow that sort of tree. Then, I don't know, that a lot of Africa has been infested with invasive species. A tree like prosopis is what Kenyans call matenge. And the farmers hate it. The pastoralists hate that tree because it has thorns that prick the animals. We have developed methods of converting it into a stable carbon form in biochar that is returned into the soil. But then you plant in those areas trees that are able to, like marubaine, that are able to allow grass to grow, provide medicine to people, and that environment gets restored. Things like water infrastructure, something like sand dams. A sand dam is able to hold water in place, even when when there is drought. So those sort of things, we are doing all of them in large scale. They are integrated in our business, both for generating carbon credits, restoring the environment, conserving in terms of using an energy efficient stove that doesn't consume a lot of fuel, and that's a full-time job, if you like.
Thank you very much. Where can people find you? Are you on the socials? Are you blogging? Are you...
My name, Haron Wachira, Haron.
Yes.
Wachira, Wachira.
Yes.
.com. HaronWachira.com is a blog. Akili Group. .co.ke is our website. And if you just search for my name, even on YouTube, I believe you'll be able to see my podcast. Thank you.
Thank you very much for talking to us today, and all the best in your work and your projects.
Thank you.